The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a new or slightly used automobile, you need to go to Greenwood Chevrolet, and I got three reasons for you. Reason number one, their sales department is great. Reason number two, their finance department is great. And reason number three, their service department, top-notch, phenomenal. All three of these things are reasons 1, 2, and 3. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. You need to go to Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown if you're in the market for a new or slightly used automobile. They will take care of you. Trust me when I tell you. All right, it is a Friday. It's a basketball Friday in the Mahoning Valley. We don't get to say that very often. And I think that's something that we're going to be doing from here on out. You know, because during football season, obviously it's a football night in the Valley. Well, no, it's a basketball night in the Valley. Plenty of basketball games across the area, and I understand, you know, Trumbull County is still not ready to go until early January, but there are plenty of games that will be on the network tonight, including the Crestview boys looking to even their season record to 2-2 as they take on United from Rebels Gym. And if that game is anywhere close to the excitement level of last night's heart-pounding victory by Crestview over Cardinal Mooney in girls hoops, we'll have some fun tonight at Rebels Gym for sure. We got a trifecta of basketball coaches, high school coaches on the horn today on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coming up at 12:20, we will hear from the head basketball coach of the Struthers Wildcats, Mike Wernecki. At 12:45, Kerry Palermo from Cardinal Mooney will be jumping on board on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And finally, at 2:15 this afternoon, Pat Birch from Boardman will be getting on board, and we will hear from the head basketball coaches, boys basketball coaches from Struthers, Mooney, and Boardman. All right, so this is going to be some stuff that we're planning on doing. Thursdays, we're reserving our Thursdays for Rob Schmidt, who does the play-by-play for YSU men's basketball, and we're also going to be spotlighting a ton of different girls basketball coaches across the Mahoning Valley and in our YSN family. So they will take the floor, if you will, when Anthony and I are doing the show on Thursday, and we'll get the guys, the boys coaches, to take the floor every Friday. So it is Friday, so we're going to have Mike Wernecki from Struthers at 12:20, Kerry Palermo from Mooney at 12:45, and Pat Birch from Boardman at 2:15. YSU has added a game in men's basketball Sunday. They are going to travel to Binghamton, New York. They're going to get to Binghamton, New York, and they're going to be playing on Sunday against Binghamton. This is a Division I basketball program. Tip-off is going to be at 1 o'clock at the Event Center in Binghamton, New York. To give you an idea where Binghamton is, it is 2 hours away from New York City. It is in upstate New York, about an hour away from my stomping grounds for, 2 years back in the early 2000s. I think it was, 2000 and 2001. I was in Elmira, New York, which is about an hour due west of Binghamton. But Binghamton, nice town. It's the Mets AA Farm Club is in Binghamton. They're in the Eastern League. So the Penguins are going to be in Binghamton, New York for a game on Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Best of luck to the guys. Hopefully they can get another game. Keep in mind, next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday and next Sunday, the YSU men will open up the Horizon League basketball portion of their schedule against Northern Kentucky. Now, here's some interesting news. The Sunday game is going to be broadcast on ESPNU. So, along with all the expectations from different people, the so-called experts, I use air quotes here, the experts that do the predicting for the Horizon League, they're saying the Penguins are the second best team in the Horizon League behind Wright State. Well, they're starting to get some publicity now because the game on Sunday between Youngstown State and Northern Kentucky, which I believe the experts picked them to finish third, that game is going to be broadcast on ESPNU. So that's a pretty nice deal for the YSU men, and hopefully they will be up to the task. But again, Sunday, they've just added this game about 20 minutes ago. They added the game. They are going to go to Binghamton, New York, and play Binghamton on Sunday afternoon at the Event Center in Binghamton, New York. It's about a 5-hour drive from here, 5, 6-ish, somewhere in that vicinity. Tip-off is at 1 o'clock at the Event Center in Binghamton. All right, there you go. Okay, plenty of girls basketball last night on the network. I had a great game. Crestview and Cardinal Mooney. This game was back and forth. Mooney had a 6-point lead at the end of the third quarter. The Rebels outscored Cardinal Mooney 15-7 in the final stanza. A 3 by Ashton Hughes tied the ball game late, and then Krista Perry took over, wound up with 6 of her 19 points in the fourth quarter, but it was an Ashton Hughes blocked shot of Elena Scavina as Scavina tried to tie the ball game with a runner from the lane. And Miss Hughes said, "Not in my house." And I'm surprised she didn't wag her finger when the ball was blocked. It was a legitimate block by Ashton Hughes. A fantastic finish if you're a fan of the Crestview Rebels. Just a great game nonetheless. Cardinal Mooney playing in their first game of the 2020-2021 campaign. Hard-fought game against Crestview, 43-41. Your final score. The Rebels moved their record to 2-1. Also moving their record to 2-1 last night. Lowellville, they held off Sebring 45-41. Good victory for Coach Ratuno Molesky. Lisa Ratuno, formerly of the YSU women's basketball program. She played during the Penguins' heyday, and I believe she took part in the second and third NCAA basketball appearance by the YSU women. But Lowellville getting a victory over Sebring 45-41. Jackson Milton knocked off Campbell 58-32. Jackson Milton now 2-0 in the young campaign. A very nice showdown in the MVAC Scarlet tier as Western Reserve got a win over Springfield 48-32. Poland beat Canfield in the battle for 224, 46-35. Poland a winner over Canfield, and Ursuline South Range knocked off Ursuline 52-48. Ursuline is a D3 program. And so is South Range, so is Crestview, so is Springfield. There's a stacked D3 tournament coming in the tournaments, if knock on wood, if we get that far. And I know we're early on in the campaign, but an exciting game at Ursuline down on Wick Avenue in the north end of town as Jeff Fischel's kids knocked off Ursuline 52-48 last night. Again, tonight on the network, plenty of boys basketball games. I'll be at Crestview for the Crestview United game. Should be a fun time. A bunch of other games. We'll run down the schedule throughout the day as we take you through the 3 o'clock hour on this Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. 886-0813. Don't forget to put a 330 in front of that. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Here's your list of games for tonight. Beaver Local is home to Indian Creek. That is a 7 o'clock varsity start, which means the JVs get underway at 5:30, and I think everyone should know by now, the varsity game start is at the mercy of how fast the JV game finishes. But the start should be somewhere around 7 o'clock. Boardman will be hosting Louisville. This should be a pretty interesting game tonight. This should be a really interesting game tonight. Boardman will be tested, and we'll hear from Pat Birch, the head basketball coach at Boardman, at about 2:15. Canfield will be taking on West Branch. That game is going to be played at Canfield. Crestview hosting United. Heartland Christian will be hosting Camel. Jackson Milton hosting Lowville. Sebring will be hosting Western Reserve. South Range is hosting Poland. Put a circle next to this one. This should be an interesting game as well. And Ursuline will be hosting North Royalton. South Range hosting Poland. Ursuline hosting North Royalton. All of these games have a 7 o'clock start. And again, 5:30 is when the JV game begins. And again, if the JV game ends quick, then the varsity game will start earlier than 7 o'clock. But the estimated time at 7 o'clock. And, of course, you can see all of these games. All you need to do is go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, click on the school of your choice. It's a free service. We're not charging anything. It is a free service, and it'll be video, the whole 9 yards. So you should be able to watch the game from the comforts of your home. And we do this because, well, only parents are allowed to see their kids play. It's pretty much an empty gymnasium when the kids are playing, but we know that there's plenty of folks that are tuning in to ysnlive.com for their favorite program. There is a wrestling quad meet. Austintown, Fitch, Chardon, Edgewood, and Howland are all getting together. This is going to be at Fitch. This is a 5 o'clock start, so we'll see what happens there. Our neighbors to the east, and here in East Palestine, we're about a 5-iron away from the Pennsylvania line. And once you get into PA, crossing 14 into, 51? I think it's State Route 51 that turns into 51 once you get into Pennsylvania. Anyway, Blackhawk is the first school district. I make mention of this because yesterday Governor Wolf shut everything down as far as sports goes. They shut everything down until early January. He did not want to dilly-dally with anything. He just sat back and said, you know what? No, we're done. We're just going to shut everything down until January. And Ohio did not do that. And there are some folks, and Dana Ballish reported this, our 21 sports director from our sister station. He reported there were some superintendents and ADs that, frankly, wanted Mike DeWine to say something and do something. And then there were other superintendents and ADs that said, nah, we'll handle it ourselves. And it's interesting. Like I said, Trumbull County schools, they're shut down until late December, early January. I mean, in a perfect world, if you can practice starting the Christmas week, and I believe the health department meets on the 22nd of December to potentially put the green light in action. We'll see what happens. East Palestine is now shut down until the second week in January. A couple of nights ago, the Southern Local School Board met and said, "Now we're back in business." So they're going to start their sports up pretty soon here. It's hit and miss, and it's really it's just one of those things. And then, of course, yesterday, Governor DeWine extending the curfew to January the 2nd. However, because the Browns are playing on Monday Night Football, apparently you're allowed to skip the curfew if you go watch a football game. I'm really confused by all of this. I'm kind of baffled by some of this. Look, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love football. I love sports. You all know this, but if you're going to have a curfew, you got to have a curfew. It's by the way, if you're planning on watching the Columbus Crew in the soccer championship against Seattle this weekend, or if you're planning on watching the Browns on Monday night up in Cleveland, no problem. You can skirt the curfew. What? Stop this already. Good Lord. Okay, I understand. The NFL's $1 billion business, and I understand that the NFL is doing what the NFL is doing, and they're trying to do as much as they can because, let's be honest, money is what makes the NFL work. I get it. I understand that, but I'm sorry. And I love the Browns. I love rooting for them, unless, of course, they're playing my Bills. But there shouldn't be anyone in Cleveland on Monday night. That stadium should be empty. It just should be. And it's amazing. It absolutely amazing how wishy-washy people are in Columbus. Just amazing. All right, we're going to take a timeout. On the other end, we will hear from the head basketball coach of the Struthers Wildcats, Mike Wernecki. Boy, a lot of expectations over the last couple of years with Struthers. This is a team that went to the district championship game, fell to Cheney by 3 points. They got most everyone back on their squad. We'll catch up with Coach Wernecki. This Struthers team, circle this team and go see some games if you can, or check them out on the network. If you can't get to the field house, check them out on the network, because this Struthers team, wow, they're legit. They're absolutely legit. We'll catch up with Coach Wernecki coming up in a bit. Stick around. It is a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline will be open for business throughout the broadcast. 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. Stick around.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone.
No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at WRSInsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
To Greenwood Chevrolet because I
was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went to
Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Basketball Friday edition, Hoops in the Valley edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Not open right now because on the hotline we have the head basketball coach of the Struthers Wildcats, Mike Wernecki. Coach, how are you today?
I'm great, and let me start off by saying thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I think what you're doing for high school basketball is, in our area, is tremendous. What your network does as far as showing the games and as much, coverage as you give to the coaches and giving them a platform on both the boys and girls side to, to talk about their respective teams. I appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody in the area does. They do a tremendous job, so thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, in the pandemic, thank God we have YSN. If you're a basketball, a football fan, a high school fan, thank God for YSN because, not many people are going to be allowed to watch your exciting team play, just the parents for right now, and hopefully, knock on wood, by the first of the year, and hopefully as we go into late January and tournament time, that ban will be lifted and we'll get some more people into the field house because, damn, your basketball team is good, Coach.
I don't know if I'd go that far right now. I think we have the potential to be good. We have a lot of things that we're still trying to work out. We've got a lot of young kids that are stepping up into more significant roles. Obviously, I've got three really good returning players in Aiden Slocum, Trey Metzger, and Brandon Washington, who've been through the fire with me for the last, Trey and Brandon at least for the last 2 years, and Aiden from last year. But, we have a lot of guys that are trying to step up and figure out their role. And I'll be honest with you, for me, I'm trying to figure out the roles of the guys and rotations and all that stuff. I mean, my guys have worked extremely hard, and they've put the pressure on me from the sense that, I've had a lot of kids get a lot better in the off season. And, sometimes those decisions, they're not popular and they're not easy to make.
Coach, was the gauntlet thrown down in terms of the kids looking to get after it even more this offseason? Was that gauntlet thrown down when you guys made your district runner-up run?
It was very exciting. The community was tremendous as far as their support for us and how they traveled with us, really from the start of the season. And, I congratulate against Cheney, but we came up a little short, and I felt like we had a chance to win that game. But, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, to answer your question, the returning guys, once you get a taste of some success, they're eager. And it was also enhanced by the fact that, they couldn't do anything. Our season ended, and they weren't in the gym until really June 1st when we were able to start again. And, it was exciting to get everybody back. But with that success and that hunger comes a lot of expectation. And, when you do have some guys that have had some success and they're returning, especially at the high school level, you really have to up your level of commitment as far as the weight room and skill work, because now we went from, a kind of an afterthought to, somebody that, people are looking at as, hey, we have to get ready to play this game. Not that anybody ever took us lightly last year, but, when you're coming off that type of season, the expectations are different as well as the preparation from everybody you play.
You're not sneaking up on anybody anytime soon, not with the district runner-up run in a very deep Division II Boardman district, I might add, and it's even deeper this year, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But you guys are off to a 2-0 start, and kudos on the non-conference schedule. You've opened up playing up with a Division I Fitch program and playing D2 Canfield. The Northeast 8 is obviously going to be a very, very competitive conference. It normally is. This is one of those years where you may not have the same record as last year, but you might be in better shape going into the tournament.
You're correct about that. There's no question. I mean, I don't evaluate our season or how we're playing based on record, because when you play a competitive schedule and you're in a league that's as competitive as ours, you know, the record doesn't always tell the story. And you know, we've just tried to say let's just focus on today. I mean, I don't want to give you coach speak, but you know, if you start getting ahead of yourself and skipping steps, then you're going to get beat. And you know, I think we very well could get into the tournament this year with a different record than last year and maybe feel like we're playing better at that point. You know, I don't know. But again, if you take anything for granted, you're going to lose because, like, as you said, our district has so many high-quality teams in it. I mean, I don't want to list teams and leave anybody out, but, I mean, the usual suspects, you know, whenever Cheney gets going again, they're tremendous. You know, Keith at Ursuline does an unbelievable job, and he's got so many good young kids back. They're tremendous. And you know, Coach Grizz at Poland. I'm just talking about teams that are there every single year. And that doesn't include, I mean, I could go down the list of teams that this year I think are very good. Your Moonies and your West Branches, and you know, like I said, I'm not trying to leave anybody out because there's a lot of good teams. So it's going to be a fun year if we can keep it going.
Mike Wernecki, the head basketball coach for the Struthers boys basketball program, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. Coach, how difficult has it been in the COVID world? And I know this firsthand because, you know, I was helping out the Coach D and everyone down in Leetonia, and you got to wear a mask, and trying to talk through a mask, it's kind of tough, and you really can't hear anybody, and the direction may not be the as clear as you want it. How difficult has it been for you in this COVID world to coach?
I'll say this: it hasn't been difficult from the standpoint that you might think. It's, you know, the mask is an inconvenience, but again, I respect what's going on out there, and trust me, my goal, you know, I want to keep myself safe, my family safe, and obviously my players safe. So, you know, that's the time that we're in. So we try to make no excuses about that, and we don't even complain about it, because that's, you know, we're trying to set the example, and that, you know, it is what it is. Is it harder for me to get things out? Not really. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. It's just not that hard. You know, the challenge has been more for me. We've tried to take the onus off the kids because everything is so fluid right now. You know, you really get an appreciation for your administration in times like this because, you know, like I'll give you an example. Wednesday, you know, I'm getting ready to start practice at 7, and I find out just before practice that Jefferson canceled. So, you know, we spent a decent amount of time from the Fitch game preparing for a Jefferson game, you know, 2 days later, which was supposed to be today. That didn't happen. So now all of a sudden you're scrambling to try to find games, and, you know, the kids didn't know when our next game was going to be. For them, you know, when they get news like that, it gets disappointing. But, you know, I've said to the kids since the day we started, you know, your job's not to worry about any of that stuff. That's my job. You just come every day with the expectation to get better and to compete, and I'll figure it out. And, you know, my administration has worked tirelessly to keep us on track as far as games. You know, we were able to replace the games that we lost, and the other ones that we lost, we haven't lost because they're league games and they've just been moved. So we're still at our full 22, and I'm grateful for that. You know, the time frame and the flow makes it difficult because, you know, you're preparing, and then all of a sudden I had to put the Jefferson file away and you know, figure out, you know, what the next game was going to be. But again, those are my responsibilities and not the kids. And my kids have done a tremendous job of just allowing me to lead them in that direction. And they've been enthusiastic every single day, no matter what the circumstances have been.
Coach Wernecki joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, and I know ADs are they're running around trying to get games if they've lost a game, whether it's the other team has had to cancel the game because of a COVID outbreak or some other scenario. The bottom line is there have been teams that have been playing other teams that they normally wouldn't be playing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you get a Northeastern Ohio Power to come down to the field house or you go to them, and it gives you an opportunity to see someone that you might be seeing later on down the tournament trail.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we just picked up East Liverpool, which is, they were in their district championship game last year. They are traditionally, I mean, I can't speak for all the teams in Columbiana County, but I would say that program has the most tradition and probably the most success in Columbiana County. They've got a tremendous group coming back. So now, here we are, and we've got South Range on Tuesday, and now we've got East Liverpool coming to the field house next Friday. So to speak to your point, yeah, I mean, you're going to end up, picking up games that could help you down the road. And it is exciting, because anytime you can play somebody who, maybe you're not as familiar with or they're not as familiar with you, a lot of times it leads to, to a fun game to participate in and to watch.
Coach, just describe to me what it feels like to play your home games in arguably the most iconic atmosphere in the Mahoning Valley, the Struthers Fieldhouse.
Well, I mean, anybody that's been in that facility knows as soon as you walk in that there's just an aura about it, from the sense that, whether it's the smell of the popcorn when you walk in to just, the way the building is set up. It's one of the things that I enjoy the most about coaching at Struthers is having, that kind of facility. It's just so different. Coming from the college ranks for a long time, it has a college feel to it. I mean, there's a lot of college teams probably out there that would love to play in a facility like that because of the way it's set up. So it is neat, and there's not a person that I've talked to that doesn't enjoy coming to the field house, whether it's watching us or whether it's watching, the district tournaments that are there, Division IV and all that good stuff. I mean, it is just if you're a high school basketball fan or just a fan of basketball, no matter who's on the floor, it's just a fun place to be.
Mike Wernecki, the head basketball coach of the Struthers Wildcats, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. You have a young man on your roster for the second year in varsity ball, Aiden Slocum, and that last name should sound familiar to folks in the Mahoning Valley. His grandfather, Jerry Slocum, the former head basketball coach at Youngstown State University, and obviously this kid has a very high basketball IQ. It's in his blood, literally. When you get a kid like that knows the game because his grandfather was a coach of a Division I mid-major program, I suppose you don't have to worry too much about him not being fundamentally sound.
No, you're right. He's spent his life in the gym, and that obviously goes a long way. The one thing about point guards, you got to have a point guard. Everybody thinks that everybody under 6 foot's automatically a point guard. Well, trust me, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to have a certain temperament, and you have to be able to learn to see the game at least in some sort of coordination with your head coach. And obviously, I've known Aiden since he was born. So he does have an understanding of what I'm trying to do and what I want. Does he execute it all the time? No, but he does. He does have that understanding, and because of the gifts that he has athletically, he can make up for some of the other areas. So it's been a fun relationship. And I'm blessed because I do have I have a lot of guys on my roster that kind of have, not necessarily the same background, but a similar background. And it just happens to be my 3 senior returners. I mean, Trey Metzger's dad was a great high school basketball player and played at the college level and coaches AAU, so it's been in Trey's blood. Brandon Washington's dad is the freshman coach at Cheney, and he's been around the game his whole life. So that's where I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky to have three guys that have the experience but also have the background and have people in their homes that have an understanding of the game that can help out and kind of back up the points that I'm trying to make. So I am blessed from that standpoint, no question.
It sounds like you're doing more coaching and less teaching, and that's just synonymous with a great basketball program, or kids that are returning that have already been around the block and understand what is expected when they put on a varsity basketball uniform. And I got to imagine that coaching instead of teaching is probably a much better thing for you.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I love the teaching part of it. I don't necessarily I don't differ the two terms. I think as a coach, you are a teacher. I don't think there's ever a moment in coaching that you're not teaching something. Now, if you want to stay strictly basketball, hopefully as your kids get more experience, then some of the little things that you used to spend a lot of time on, maybe you don't have to. But I don't think there's ever a moment, if you really understand what you're doing, that there's not a teaching opportunity there, whether it's on the floor or off the floor. And I don't ever, that's one of the things that I don't take for granted, and I don't take it lightly. I try to constantly be, to the dismay of my kids sometimes, I take every opportunity that I possibly can to teach something. And I'd say probably 75% of the time it's not basketball related. So, but to have kids, like you said, that have been with me now and have an understanding of the game, maybe there are some what you would call technical things that we don't have to spend as much time on. But I love the teaching part of it. I really do.
Mike Wernecki, the head basketball coach of the Struthers Wildcats, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Look, we're way down the road from tournament time, but come tournament time, the Boardman District, assuming they don't supersize the districts like they did in the fall sports, with the exception of football, this Boardman District, good God, there's 6 teams that could legitimately lay claim to a district championship, and if you were to supersize and put in another district and supersize these 2 districts, it would be even more of an incredible tournament run. But I know it's way down the road, but Division II this year is ridiculously loaded around here.
No, it is, and the one thing about it is, the only good thing is I don't have to play. If we're fortunate enough to have a good year and improve and be playing well at the end of the year, the only good thing is, you're not going to have to play all of the teams in the Boardman District. You only got to play 2 or 3, and that's a challenge enough. But the area, I'll be honest with you, I feel like we're going to the Super District this year. I don't understand why they would want to totally flip I don't know why they want to add more unknown variables to a year where there's so many variables already, but everything that I've heard is leaning towards the Super District. The only positive to that is if you do have a good year, you'll be rewarded by being able to play at home, which obviously for me, maybe by March, our circumstances are different and we will have some fans in the field house if we're lucky enough. But if you start going to the Super District, and you start adding other teams, then it even becomes more of a gauntlet. I specifically went out and scrimmaged Akron St. Vincent St. Mary and Mentor and Richmond Heights, and we had Canton McKinley on our schedule, and Cleveland St. Joe, specifically to try to get ready for some of that. I felt like if we were able to scrimmage St. V's and we went to a Super District and I had to play them in the second round or something like that, at least there's a familiarity between my kids and their program. I know we're jumping ahead, but I was trying to look ahead to say, if we are going to be good enough, then, you're going to have to beat really good teams. And that's just the reality of it.
iron sharpens iron, and I am a huge proponent of teams that if there's expectations, really big expectations for that particular team, I am a huge fan of scrimmaging some of the elite programs in northeastern Ohio, because if you're as good as you say you are, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be meeting one of those teams that you scrimmage down the tournament trail. I think that's a great move on your part, Coach.
Well, again, and if we don't do that, then I have tremendous teams. If we do a Boardman district, that I just can't imagine. It's going to be unbelievably competitive. Like you said, there's no less than 6, and I would probably even say if I'm thinking back to last year's bracket, you might have 7 or 8 teams out of our 14 that can legitimately go into the tournament and say, we're good enough and we can win 3 games to get to that district championship. It's unbelievable how many good teams there are. And not only that, the talent is there, but the coaching is exceptional. And that's what makes it so difficult. There's so many high-level coaches in the area right now. And, anytime that we're fortunate enough to win a game, I feel lucky to be able to beat some of these guys because they've got a hell of a lot more wins than I do.
Well, 9 years ago when I moved back into the Mahoning Valley, I was appalled at what I saw basketball-wise. But I'm going to tell you right now, this might be the first year where I really believe that we have multiple teams that are capable of making a significant tournament run this year.
No, I agree. And I think, to be honest with you, in a kind of ironic sort of way, I think the pandemic has helped on the basketball side a little bit. It shortened some of the football season, so some of the schools had football kids, back a little bit earlier than they normally would. The OHSAA relaxed a lot of the rules in the summertime, which allowed us as coaches way more access than we've ever had and that we ever will have again with our kids. So I think a lot of teams were able to take advantage of that in the summertime, and I think some of it is showing up now.
Coach, best of luck to you as you play a daunting schedule, and you wouldn't want it any other way. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your kids play. And selfishly, I'm looking forward to heading to the field house just to get the popcorn because, my God, that's good stuff.
No, I appreciate your time, and we'd love to have you. Anything you ever need, don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you for everything you do, and stay safe and have a wonderful holiday season. And like I said, if I can ever do anything, just reach out, and hopefully we'll see you at the field house soon.
All right, Coach. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You got it. Mike Wernecki, the head basketball coach of the Struthers Struthers Wildcats, and they play their games at the Fieldhouse, the iconic Struthers Fieldhouse. Kerry Palermo from Cardinal Mooney is coming up next. We'll catch up with the head basketball coach at Cardinal Mooney. That's coming up in a bit. It is a Friday edition of Running Point Basketball Night in the Mahoning Valley. A Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
uniform shoes, strolling down the street. It's gonna get hot in here, I hope you can handle the heat.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to a basketball night in the Mahoning Valley, Friday edition of Running Point, courtesy of Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, where we find the head basketball coach of the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals, Kerry Palermo. Coach, how are you today?
Oh, not too bad. How about you?
Cannot complain. All right, Cardinal Mooney off to a 2-0 start this year. You knocked off Western Reserve in your opener, and then Tuesday night, Steubenville came up to Youngstown. That would normally be a great football atmosphere because Steubenville is a football town, and obviously Cardinal Mooney and Steubenville go back with their football rivalry. But you laid the smackdown on the Big Red in the iconic Mooney Gymnasium, moving your record to 2-0. Coach, just a fantastic start for your kids.
Absolutely. I couldn't be more proud of them to this point. It's kind of funny because both of those games that we started with weren't even on the original schedule because we had some cancellations and whatnot, and you guys are familiar with what's going on. So we knew we were playing Steubenville really the night before. We knew we were playing Reserve probably like 16 hours before we played them. So our kids were kind of able to adjust and be flexible, and we were able to go out there, play well enough to win both those games.
How do you perform as a coach? How do you coach on the fly when you haven't had a scouting report? Frankly, you had no idea that you were playing these two teams until a day or so before the game. How do you go about going into the coaching aspect of it when you're basically running blind in terms of the team that you're playing up until a day or so before the game?
Well, there's two things. We've been preaching to our kids they're going to have to be flexible really since June when we got back started because we didn't know it was going to be presented before us. So we have to be the same way as coaches. What we've kind of done in practice is really just focus on us, focus on our game plan, focus on what we do well, work on the things maybe we don't do well, some what maybe, if we're playing a team on a short fly and maybe they're going to throw a different wrinkle on us, just try to predict what they might do. But with that being said, we kind of talked to our kids about this is kind of like a tournament setting. You might only have a day to prepare, 2 days to prepare. If you want to get to the ultimate down in Columbus, there's not going to be a day or two off. You're going to have to play back-to-back. So we've been kind of selling our kids on that idea, and they bought into it. I mean, I don't think our kids care who we play and who's on the schedule. I told our kids about a week ago, whatever schedule we gave you guys a couple weeks ago for your parents, just rip it up and throw it away.
No, absolutely. And ADs, they're scratching their head trying to pull as much of their hair out as possible. And I know you guys, you were supposed to play Fitch tonight. Unfortunately, that game's not going to happen. But you do have a Saturday night game against South Range.
That's right. And that kind of stinks for the kids. Fitch is one of our rivals. The old SEC rivalry and whatnot. We had some battles with them last year. We're going to reschedule that game. We're probably looking at Monday, December 28th. But yeah, South Range tomorrow. That's another. I mean, we kind of call it a rivalry. These kids all kind of live in the same areas and whatnot, and we've been playing them every year since I've been there. And Coach Cullen does a great job, and he's one of the best coaches in this area's history. And that's going to be a tough game. They're going to be hungry. And, telling our kids like, hey, we're off Friday, but we're going to practice and we're going to prepare for South Range. I didn't really see anybody shrugged their shoulders or anything. They kind of looked at it as, oh, great, we have another day to prepare for them because they want that game.
Well, and the fact that Mooney is Division III, you could be seeing South Range along the tournament trail since both of you guys are D3.
Absolutely. We actually, us South Range, those are huge games for our district and for seeding purposes, even though it's really a long ways away and it's kind of early. But we feel us South Range, Canton Central, Springfield, Waterloo, we think we play in a pretty darn tough D3 district over at Salem. I remember talking to everybody last year, and we felt that, the 1 through 7 seeds, whoever won that, or the 1 through 7 seeds, any one of those teams, if they won the district, nobody would really be surprised. But yeah, this is a big game for us.
Well, no two ways about it. We're talking with Kerry Palermo, the head basketball coach of the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals. Coach, it wouldn't be a Mooney basketball season without a Pelini on the basketball team. That name is so synonymous with Cardinal Mooney athletics. And talk a little bit about the latest of the Pelini boys to come in on the Mooney basketball floor.
So Michael, he's a 3-year starter for us, 2-year captain. He's a 4-year varsity player. He got in a little bit as freshman, dressed every game. He's everything when you think about I had the opportunity to coach Patrick Pelini for a season. When you see the coaches on the sideline and whatnot, remember those guys playing in that gym. He's got the same mentality, the same work ethic, grind it out mentality. He's a kid for us who's been our leading scorer for the last couple of years, and I think that kind of overshadows how good of a passer he is. He really makes the guys around him a lot better. Makes it a point to really get everybody involved in our offense. There's not many times where you look at him, he might end up with 20 points, but you're like, I don't really think he forced really much of anything. It just all kind of came within the flow. And he usually ends up with 8 or 9 rebounds or 4 or 5 assists. He's the kind of kid, if we don't have practice today, he's going to get 500 shots up. He's going to make 5,000 shots a week. Everything all the accolades that he's getting and everything he's getting right now, it's because he's earned it. He's put the time in, and he's understood that from a young age. He's going to be a kid that, toward the end of the season, he's going to have an opportunity to score 1,000 points and whatnot. And again, that's just everything that he's worked for and earned over the course of his career.
Coach, how important is it for you to have a point guard with a high basketball IQ? Because I got to believe that has to be at the top of the list.
To have a point guard with a high IQ? Excuse me, I'm walking through.
No, that's all right. That's all right. You're good. You're good.
It's extremely important for us. Luckily, we have 3 guys that really handle the ball for us, Michael being one of them, Mick Hergenrother, and then Thomas Fire. Again, those are 3 guys that have been varsity players for a long time. Extremely skilled guys that we trust to have the basketball in their hands. My first couple years at Mooney, we had a lot of nice guards, but really no true ball handler. And just having those guys, whether, like we're playing Steubenville, and we have our whole set offense and whatnot, but Steubenville is a team full of athletes. They like to pressure. They really take you out of what you want to do. Just being able to have a couple guys on the floor, like a Mick, like a Pelini, like a Fire, and they could get you situated, they can get you organized, and then they can make a play when things break down. It makes it a lot easier from a coaching standpoint. And really all 3 of those guys are an extension of our staff on the floor.
Kerry Palermo from Cardinal Mooney joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We had Coach Wernecki from Struthers on, and the conversation turned to the fact that there is the potential of a supersized district, much like in the fall sports. They're going to try to do this, or at least they're thinking about trying to do this in the winter sports as well. Look, it's no secret the Salem district is stacked to begin with. You add another district, and now you're talking about even more talent coming into the fray, which is good news because the competition is going to be insane, and it could be better news because you could be seeing a all-local regional semifinal or an all-local regional final game. But Man, we already have enough talent in Salem. I can't even imagine what a supersized district would look like.
I know. So, talking about that, you would think they would just add the Salem and Warren district, right?
Oh, absolutely. That makes
so
sense.
You're talking Newton Falls, you're talking LeBray, you're talking those schools. So, I mean, you're probably going to have around 10, 11 schools that could win the district or be in the regional semifinal, regional finals. It's kind of cool. I'm not opposed to it. I think seeding would be like crazy. I mean, I don't even know how you would do that. I'll have to talk and see what they did for soccer and whatnot. Seeding in our district for 14 teams, 15 teams is hard enough, let alone seeding for 32.
As we look back on this season, I know it's early on, but you mentioned something that I think is so very important. Now it's the aspect and the mentality of you're going to have to prepare every single game like it's a tournament game, whereas you're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 days tops to get ready for this opponent. Honestly, Coach, I think that mentality may very well make our area even more basketball savvy, because I mentioned this a few moments ago. 9 years ago, I moved back into the area, and I thought that basketball was garbage 9 years ago. But today, basketball today in the Mahoning Valley, I have not been this excited for basketball in a long, long time. I think that basketball has made just an incredible jump to where we now can compete with some of the bigger schools and some of the more iconic schools in northeastern Ohio. And I think that COVID, even though it's been an ugly scenario this year, I think it might have helped basketball. If there is a silver lining to this god-awful virus, I think that it might have helped basketball.
I agree. Just like looking at it from our perspective, like with COVID and whatnot, in June, you're not really doing a lot for football at that time period. Double start, I think, end of July or middle of July. So like in June, we're able to get all of our kids in the gym, but we weren't really allowed to play. It was all like, you had to have no more than 10 people in the gym. It can only be skill work. You weren't allowed to do anything where you're playing or making any kind of contact. So you talk to all these coaches around the area, and you really had to focus on fundamentals development, skill development. In this area, a lot of kids play football and whatnot, and they're in the weight room doing that kind of stuff, and all that was shut down. So these kids were in the gym just with a hoop and a basketball, and they actually got to work on their fundamentals. I think you're seeing a lot more skilled teams. I think you're seeing a lot more fundamental teams as we've seen in the past. Just from my perspective, this is the most fundamental, most skilled team when you're talking footwork, ball handling that I've ever had. And once we got out of June, I remember talking to our coaches and during open gyms and whatnot. I'm like, we're not very big, we're not very athletic, but like this is the most skilled team. This is the most fundamental team that we've ever had. And, spending an hour and a half every other day working on that instead of just rolling the balls out going to play, I think it's going to have immense benefits on our basketball team.
Coach, I look forward to seeing your basketball team throughout the year. Best of luck to you, and I know you got to get back into the classroom, so congratulations on the 2-0 start. Look forward to seeing your club.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Go Cardinals.
You got it. Kerry Palermo, the head basketball coach of the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. That just got me super excited when I hear the fact of, well, now we're more fundamentally sound. And he's 1,000,000% right. And look, COVID's just been a pain in the ass to everybody. It really has. And it's unfortunate that this virus has killed so many people. And it's not going away anytime soon. But I will tell you, if there is, from a sports standpoint, and from our perspective, if there is a silver lining in this ridiculous, god-awful virus that we have had, it's the fact that, and I think Coach Palermo hit it on the head, a lot of kids had an opportunity to go into a gym with a basketball and work on their game. And I think that we're going to see a much better fundamentally sound brand of basketball throughout the Mahoning Valley this year. And that's going to be great to see. And I can't stress this enough. When I came back into the Valley 9 years ago, I moved back into the Valley. That was like 8 or 9 years ago. And honestly, the basketball, when I came back, and maybe it was because I was living in a state where basketball is pretty advanced. And I came back here and I just, oh God, what is this? This isn't the basketball that I remember. Because, again, I grew up in the 70s. And early 70s, mid 70s, early 70s as a child, mid late 70s as a teenager, early 80s as a teenager, and you saw some pretty impressive basketball, especially in the city and into the suburbs. There was some pretty impressive basketball that was played. I don't know if we're on that level quite yet, but the basketball that I'm seeing right now, it's pretty impressive. It is pretty impressive. And I firmly believe that if there is a silver lining with this ridiculous virus of COVID and everything that it's brought to not only here but across America, if there is a silver lining from a sports perspective, it's the fact that a lot of kids worked on their basketball game, and we're starting to see some pretty good basketball being played across the Mahoning Valley. And hopefully, if you don't have access to go to a high school gym to watch high school basketball, you will certainly have access to ysnlive.com to see the basketball being played. And I will tell you right now, there is a stark night and day difference of high school basketball from 2011, 2012 to today. I think there is a stark difference. I really believe that. All right, we're back in a bit. It is a basketball night in the Mahoning Valley, a basketball day/night in the Mahoning Valley. It's a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. The 1 o'clock hour, it's all yours, kids. 2:15, Pat Birch from Boardman will be chiming on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. So for the next hour, it's you, the fans, talking to me, the schlub here, doing the show. It's a Friday edition of Running Point. We're back in a bit. Stick around.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Some unfortunate news on the campus of Youngstown State University. The YSU women's basketball program has been paused again, as a member of the basketball program has tested positive for COVID. And unfortunately, the team activities have been paused. So this weekend, they were to have opened conference play against Northern Kentucky down in Northern Kentucky. And unfortunately, those games are going to be canceled. The games on the 19th and 20th at Green Bay have also been canceled. It would look like the team should be able to practice, and they should be able to play, knock on wood, they should be able to play on New Year's Day when Wright State comes into Beagley, New Year's Day and January the 2nd. So the first 4 conference games, and again, in conference play this year, you're going to be going back-to-back in the same gym or arena. This weekend, they were supposed to play at Northern Kentucky. Next weekend, they were supposed to play at Green Bay. So you can scratch those 4 games off the list, and hopefully they'll make those 4 games up at some point during the course of the season. But the Youngstown State women, at the very earliest, they're going to be playing on January the 1st against Wright State at Beagley. January the 1st and the 2nd against Wright State. And again, I believe the men are going to be playing at Beagley as well. So it'll undoubtedly be a doubleheader for YSU men's and women's basketball on New Year's Day and the 2nd of January. That I believe that's a Friday, because I'm pretty sure Christmas is 2 weeks from today. Hard to believe, especially when it's 50 some odd degrees outside. Good God, what a beautiful day today. 2 weeks from Christmas, 3 weeks from New Year's. So Friday and Saturday, January the 1st and 2nd, that is the earliest the Youngstown State will be playing basketball. So hopefully, YSU women, I want to stress that, not the men. The YSU women, the earliest they are going to be playing now is January the 1st, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they will be able to do that. As far as the YSU men are concerned, they have picked up a game against Binghamton on Sunday afternoon. That is a Sunday afternoon game against Binghamton, and that game is going to be played in Binghamton at 1 o'clock. And again, the Penguins will be playing against Binghamton in upstate New York, Binghamton, New York. It's about a 6-hour drive from here, 6-hour drive from here. The pregame, or I should say the game will start at 1 o'clock. So there you go. So the Penguins taking on Binghamton. And I don't know if they have another game set. As of right now, they don't. I know that they would like to get a home game before they open up the conference next weekend. Next Saturday and Sunday, they are supposed to be playing a game against Northern Kentucky. 2 games against Northern Kentucky, again, next Saturday and Sunday, not this weekend. So we'll see if Youngstown State does get another game before the conference play, but they will be playing a game against Binghamton. That is put on the schedule earlier today. The Penguins will be traveling to Binghamton, New York to take on Binghamton, SUNY Binghamton, if you will, and that game will be at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. Lots of games tonight. on the network. And again, given the fact that, we're in a situation where, unfortunately, only parents are allowed to go to the basketball games. We're going to have just a ton of basketball games on the network, and we got a bunch of them. And here are the games for tonight. Beaver Local is home to Indian Creek. Boardman is home to Louisville. Canfield is home to West Branch. Crestview playing at Rebels Gym against United. Heartland Christian is home to Campbell. Jackson Milton will be hosting Lowville. Sebring hosting Western Reserve. South Range is hosting Poland. And Ursuline will be hosting North Royalton. All of those games are going to be starting at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, keep in mind, the JVs will be playing at 5:30. Junior varsity basketball, in a 7 o'clock start, JVs normally start at 5:30. And then the varsity game is about 15, 20 minutes at the conclusion of the junior varsity game. So if the junior varsity game goes long, obviously the broadcast will start after 7 o'clock. If the JV game happens to go really quick, then the start will be before 7 o'clock. So the 7 o'clock start is just an estimated time, an ETA, estimated time of arrival. So an ETA of 7 o'clock for all of our games on the network tonight. But again, give or take 10 or 15 minutes on either side. But it should be starting somewhere around 7 o'clock. We do have a quad wrestling match that is going to be taking place. Austintown Fitch is going to be the host school. Chardon, Edgewood, and Howland are all coming to Fitch at the gymnasium in Austintown for the quad wrestling meet with those 4 wrestling programs, and that should be entertaining. That is a 5 o'clock start at Austintown Fitch High School, as we will have wrestling on the network as well. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. You want to talk some high school sports, you can do that. You want to get into some Browns and Steelers talk, some anything else on your mind, hit me up. It's an open line Friday in the 1 o'clock hour. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business, 330-886-0813. We made mention, or actually I haven't made mention of this yet. The football games all this weekend, everything should be a go in the NFL. The Browns are going to be hosting the Ravens on Monday Night Football in Cleveland, and that game will be in front of a nationwide audience, obviously. Steelers are going to be playing on Sunday Night Football in Orchard Park. They're going to be taking on the Bills. This should be a fascinating game. A good, solid test for both teams. Clearly, the Steelers haven't looked good the last few weeks, and they got their loss. I'm pretty sure they're going to be an angry bunch of kids and gentlemen going into Buffalo, and I know that Mike Tomlin is going to be hoping for a much more intense atmosphere from the Steelers, and well, they'll be going up against a pretty good Bills team. This will be a fun test for both clubs. And again, I'm not saying this as a Bills fan. I've been very critical of my team for the last 3 years, and I will say this year they're certainly a top four program in the AFC. I think that's a pretty safe bet that they are in that realm, and I think this is going to be a fun test for the Bills and for the Steelers as well. I've mentioned this as a Bills fan. If the Bills are able to beat Pittsburgh Sunday night, my expectation level just becomes a little bit higher. My expectation level is, okay, now I'm going to be satisfied with a trip to the AFC Championship game. And, okay, this is going to be a different playoff system because the top seed is the only team that's going to be off. Everyone else is going to be playing 2 through 7, 3 through 6, 4 through 5. And then the number 1 seed will take on the lowest seed. So let's say the 7 upsets the 2. Well, then automatically the 7 seed is going to be playing the top seed in the conference. Let's say the 6 seed is the lowest seed. Well, then they would play the 1 seed. And then the other 2 teams, what would that be? The 2 and the 4 would be playing each other in the other divisional game. So it's pretty important that you get the number 1 seed, hence the reason why this game is pretty important for the Steelers. Right now, they only have 1 loss on the year, so does Kansas City. And the tiebreaker goes to the Steelers because their 1 loss was to an NFC team, to Kansas City's loss, which was to an AFC team. So they haven't played each other head-to-head this year, nor will they. But the second tiebreaker is best conference record, and the Steelers own that. Because right now they're undefeated in conference play. Now, should these 2 teams remain tied, then we'll see what happens. But as of right now, the Steelers have the top seed based on the fact that their 1 loss was to a non-conference opponent, an NFC team. So if Pittsburgh wins out, they're going to have home field advantage, and they will have the bye week and go automatically into the divisional playoffs. So it's an important game for the Steelers. Not only that, if you lose to Buffalo and Cleveland happens to take care of Baltimore on Monday night, now all of a sudden the division's even more into play. I don't necessarily think the division's in play right now because the Browns are 9-3, the Steelers are 11-1, the Steelers own the tiebreaker. It's not in play right now per se, but if Buffalo were to beat Pittsburgh and Cleveland upends Baltimore on Monday night, now it's in play because now you're looking at 11-2 Pittsburgh, 10-3 Cleveland, and if those 2 teams are 1 game apart going into the final game, oh, by the way, it's in Cleveland, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, then that could very well be for a AFC Northern Division title. But right now, I don't think that the division is in play per se. That could change, especially, like I said, if Buffalo knocks off Pittsburgh and Cleveland knocks off Baltimore on Monday night, now the division's in play. Whether or not that happens, who knows? Who knows? I will say this, Cleveland at 9-3, obviously they looked brilliant against Tennessee, especially in the first half. That was an amazing performance by the Browns in the first half. They'll have their hands full on Monday night. This Baltimore team, and I know they played a garbage Dallas team, I get it. But this Baltimore team is starting to find itself, and they're just getting back into rounding into shape again. This will be a fun game on Monday night, and obviously Cleveland, they got some bones to pick with Baltimore and Pittsburgh because 2 of their 3 losses came in embarrassing fashion as they got their ass kicked by both Baltimore and Pittsburgh earlier in the season, and I know the Browns are chomping at the bit to get a little bit of revenge Monday night in Cleveland against Baltimore, and then in Week 17, the final week of the season, where undoubtedly that game will get moved into the 4 o'clock window. Pretty good chance of that happening. There's no Sunday night football the last week of the season, but all of the playoff implication type games get moved to the 4 o'clock window. Pretty good chance Browns Steelers is going to be a 4:15, 4:25 type of game. There's a pretty good chance of that happening. And again, right now the division's not in play, but over the next few weeks it could be. Yeah, this could happen. We'll see what happens with how the Browns play and how the Steelers play on Sunday night against Buffalo. And the Bills, they're trying to hold off Miami. Now they got good news last night when New England got trashed by the Los Angeles Rams, and if Buffalo wins on Sunday night against Pittsburgh and Miami loses to Kansas City, which is a possibility, even though the game is in South Florida, all Buffalo needs to do is beat Denver on Saturday, and the division is theirs. And it would be the first time in 20 plus years since the Bills won the AFC East. So that would be another step in the right direction for my beloved Bills. We can talk a little bit about the Sunday night game with the Steelers, the Monday night game, Browns and Ravens. We can talk YSU, high school sports if you wish. That's on the horizon as well. A lot of basketball going to be played today on the network. We went through the boys basketball games on the network last night. Some really good girls basketball games. I was in for the exciting finish at Columbiana, or in Crestview High School. And it's in Columbiana, but they don't like to be called that. Gee, I wonder why. Crestview and Cardinal Mooney, it was a really good finish. It was a back-and-forth game. Mooney had the upper hand for most of the night. Crestview outscored Mooney in the fourth quarter, and they had a 43-41 lead late. And Cardinal Mooney was trying to get the game-tying basket, and you put the ball into the hands of the leading scorer on Thursday nights, and for Cardinal Mooney, that was Elena Scavina. Elena was good. She got hot in the first and third quarters. She scored 8 points in the first quarter, and that game was back and forth, offensive slugfest. Mooney had a 19-15 lead at the end of one quarter, and you thought for yourself, man, this is just going to be a slugfest. Well, it turned out to be a defensive struggle immediately afterwards. Cardinal Mooney outscored Crestview 4-3 in the entire second quarter and took a 23-18 lead into recess, and then they expanded the lead to 34-28. They outscored Crestview 11-10, and then the fourth quarter came and Crestview put it into overdrive. They outscored Mooney 15-7 to get the 43-41 win. But Mooney had the ball with 3 seconds left in the game, and they got the ball into Elena Scavina, who had 19 points in the game. And she tried to make a running shot into the lane, and Ashton Hughes had no part of it. Ashton Hughes put up the big paw and said, "Not in my house." She blocked the shot, and that was that. And it was a legit blocked shot, no body, no nothing. It was a very well played game for both teams. Cardinal Mooney, this was their first game of the year. And both games were exciting. The JV game, Mooney knocked off Crestview 20-19, and Crestview returned the favor, getting the victory. And this is something that you normally would not see in a regular season, but because we're in COVID, and we made mention of this when we had Coach Wernecki and Coach Palermo on from Struthers and Mooney, respectively, you're seeing some teams put together a schedule and play teams that you normally wouldn't see in a regular season schedule. Crestview just got done playing the two parochial schools in Youngstown back-to-back. They went to Ursuline and lost to Ursuline 46-39. They had a lead going into the fourth quarter and were outscored, I believe, 20-7. They were outscored. They had a 32-26 lead after three quarters in Ursuline, and then Ursuline turned it on and knocked off Crestview 46-39. That was on Monday night. And then they turned around 3 nights later and played the other parochial team in Youngstown, Cardinal Mooney. And Crestview was able to knock off Mooney. So you normally don't see Crestview, or frankly any team of any of the smaller teams in Columbiana County, playing a team like Mooney or Ursuline. But in COVID, you're trying to scramble for as many opponents as humanly possible. And look, I mean, I've been saying this from day one. You're not in a pressure cooker like you are in football under normal circumstances. Now, this year, football was not the pressure cooker because everyone got to the playoffs. I mean, at least you were extended an invitation to the playoffs, whether you wanted to go to the playoffs or not. That's on the program. but everyone was extended that courtesy. That normally doesn't happen. The pressure cooker of football is, well, for the last, 10 or 15 years, top 8 teams. Top 8 teams, and we'll take the top 8 teams in each region, and you're going to have to win certain games, and you're going to have to hope and pray that the teams that you beat are pretty good teams that give you second-level points. You all know the drill. And next year, knock on wood, COVID is kicked to the curb, and with the vaccine, hopefully it is slowed down considerably where we can have a normal year next year. And a normal year next year in football is going to be the top 12 teams. So the top 4 teams in each region will get a bye. 5 will play 12, 6 plays 11, 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9. The winners go to the quarterfinals, and you're adding a week. So you're adding a week to the football season. That's the pressure cooker. You under normal circumstances, you're not given the playoff appearance. You have to earn it. You have to be one of the 8 best teams in the region, or next year one of the 12 best teams in your region to get to the playoffs. You're going to have to earn it. Every other sport, everybody's welcome into the postseason. And I've said this for years. If I'm a basketball coach and I'm coaching a team that really is struggling to get the program together, you have, past history of not getting very many wins, struggling to get the program to become a winning program. All right, real simple. I'm going to start scheduling some easy games. I'm not going to be scheduling up. I'm not going to be overloading my team. I'll play my league schedule, and if I'm fortunate enough to get some wins in the league, great. I'm not going to be scheduling up. I'm going to try to schedule as many wins as humanly possible to get some confidence for my kids. But then you're looking at teams that have expectations, teams that have a bunch of kids back. I don't care about the regular season record. I just don't. I want my kids ready for the tournament. Now, having said that, I also want to have my kids win a league championship. League championship in basketball might mean a little bit more than it does in football. And mainly because football is, you're more concerned about being a top 8, or in next year's case, top 12 team in your region. All right. The two might go together hand in hand. But you're more concerned about being a top 12 team than you are winning your league. Basketball, it's a little bit different. Basketball, everyone's going to the tournament. So winning a league championship, that's got a little bit more importance, a little bit more priority in basketball and the other sports, other than, with all due respect to football, that league championship priority, it's not as high as getting to the playoffs. All the other sports, the league championship priority is right up there because you're already in the tournament. Whether you're 22-0 or 0-22, you're going into the tournament. So if I have a team that has a bunch of kids coming back and there's a really high expectation, I am loading up this basketball schedule. If I'm not loading up the schedule, I'm loading up the preseason. I love what Coach Wernecki said earlier when we had him on. When he sat back and said nonchalantly, we scheduled Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. We scheduled them. We scheduled Menor. We tried to schedule Cleveland St. Joe's. We're trying to schedule some of the other programs, Kent McKinley. Oh, my excitement level went right through the roof. Oh, you want to do that in the preseason and schedule these guys in the scrimmages? Oh, absolutely. Because I am a firm believer. And you can't do this in football. Because, you can scrimmage them in football, but you can't load up your schedule in football, because if you do, then you're running the risk of not being a top 12 team, and then you don't get to go to the playoffs, and then your kid's not going to get the G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip at Christmas time. It's not going to happen. Or Hanukkah, whichever holiday you celebrate. Be that as it may. If you're doing this in basketball, whether you're scrimmaging these guys or you're actually playing them in a game, iron sharpens iron. And at the end of the day, if my team is 16-6, but they played a bitch of a schedule. I mean, they played the best of the best of the best of the best. They played their league. They played a ridiculously hard non-conference schedule. My 16-6 team is going to be ready to go to the tournament, and they're going to be ready to kick ass and take names. Why? Because my team got ready in the regular season. What bothers me more than anything else is if you have a talented team, we're going to have these kids, we're going to have them have with a schedule that's going to be the equivalent of stepping over a Sunday newspaper. And they're going to look pretty at 21-1 or 22-0, but when they come tournament time and the further along the tournament trail, and then they're going to be seeing a team that they probably should have seen in the regular season or in the preseason, but they didn't, and they get destroyed because the talent level wasn't there in your schedule, you got no one to blame but yourself. I love programs that have the initiative, that sit back and say, hey, you know what? We have a lot of expectations here, and because we have a lot of expectations, and because I personally see my team going down to Canton and getting into the regional tournament, hell, I'm gonna play St. V's right now. Because I know St. V is going to be in that regional tournament. St. V is going to be at the Canton Civic Center or the Canton Fieldhouse or wherever the hell they play. I think D2's Canton Civic Center. They play downtown. They don't play in the Fieldhouse. D3 and D4 does. I know Akron St. V has a really good chance to be at the Civic Center. So I'm going to play them now. Because I'm going to get it. I'm going to see what I can get from our kids. I want to gauge our kids right here, right now. I want to see what they can do against an Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. I want to see what they can do against Bob Grzancic up in Menor. I want to see what my kids can do against an elite Catholic school at Cleveland St. Joe's, and I want to see what these kids can do against Canton McKinley. But that's a tall order. I mean, these guys might wind up 1-3 or 0-4. What are you doing? I'm getting them ready for the tournament. I'm getting them ready for the tournament. I'm getting them ready to when they play their first game, there's a 99.999% chance the team that we play isn't going to be anywhere remotely close to the teams I just scrimmaged. I'm getting my team ready for the season. I'm getting my team ready for the tournament. I've told this story a bunch of times. Look, Leetonia's never won a district championship. They just haven't. We went to a district championship game one time, I think it was the late 80s. Lost to Western Reserve, and that Western Reserve team went to Columbus. 1984-85 season, we were supposed to have a really, really good team. As it turns out, we did. We had a damn good team. Glenn Windrum was the head basketball coach. One of the smartest things that Coach Windrum did, at the time, there were two state powers. Mansfield St. Pete, who is still a state power in Division IV, year in, year out, they get to the regional tournaments, and a school that's no longer in business, Columbus Worley. Columbus Worley hosted not one, but two NBA players. And they went to school at the exact same time at Columbus Worley High School. A Division IV, Class A at that time, state power. Lawrence Funderburk, who had a career that spanned Sacramento and Indiana and a couple of other teams. Not a bad NBA player, and he played collegiately at Ohio State and did a really nice job. And Jerry Francis, who had a nice career at Ohio State and a nice career as a member of the Houston Rockets. They were both on this Columbus Worley team. So Friday night, this was a week before Leetonia opened up the season against Columbiana. So the week before Thanksgiving, Coach Windrum has this team go to Mansfield. They played Mansfield St. Pete in the elite Northeastern Ohio, Central Ohio program. We get destroyed. First couple of quarters, I mean, we had no business on the floor with these guys. None whatsoever. And as soon as the first couple of quarters came into play, they were like, God, we got to step our game up. And then they did. Now, I think they won one quarter, but they were competitive after the 2 quarters. Spent the night in Mansfield, drove down to Columbus. Saturday morning, we're playing Columbus Worley. And they get destroyed the first 2 quarters. Oh, we got to step our game up. And then they did. Don't think they won a quarter, but they were competitive the rest of the scrimmage. They played Columbiana that next Friday. Columbiana had no shot. None. No chance whatsoever. Why? We just got done playing 2 of the elite programs in the state of Ohio. Okay, we'll play Columbiana. And sorry about your luck. We're going to beat you. And they did. And they wound up, I think, 15-5 that year. Unfortunately, like a lot of tournaments, you lose to Sebring because, well, Sebring had Rick Brook, and Sebring is a great program and just unbelievable. But the expectation level, okay. Well, we're gonna have a fun time scrimmaging these 2 elite programs in the state of Ohio, and I'm going to tell you right now, those 2 scrimmages set the bar way up here for that Leetonia basketball season. And I can tell you straight out, that Leetonia team nowhere near as talented as this Struthers team. And I love the fact that Mike Wernecki sat back and said, you know what, we'll scrimmage St. V's, we'll scrimmage Canton McKinley, we'll scrimmage St. Joe's. 3 of the best programs, not only in the state of Ohio, 3 of the best programs in Northeastern Ohio. You throw Canton McKinley in there. Oof. Hell yeah, they're going to have an unbelievable season. I mean, the bar has been raised because they got a taste of what life is like when you're playing an elite program, and that's only going to help your school. So long story short, when everyone is invited into a tournament in basketball and you have a really good basketball team, schedule up. Schedule up. It's not like you have to be a top 8 or a top 12 team in your region like in football. Everyone goes to the tournament. Schedule up. I want to see what your kids can do against the best of the best. Schedule up. Hell yeah. All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. It is a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. Let's go to Champ. Champ, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What up, brother?
How are you? Are you ready for the weekend?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. I got a basketball game tonight, Crestview and United, and I got Crestview and Springfield tomorrow night.
A couple things to talk about regarding the NFL. First of all, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Obviously, we talk about tiebreakers now, but Pittsburgh, as we know, has that one game, or has that tie now with Kansas City, and they don't have that conference loss that Kansas City has. And if Pittsburgh would lose to Buffalo, that would put them even in the conference record, which would be the tiebreaker after head-to-head since they don't play. And the thing that's really interesting is if you go to the next tiebreaker, it's record among common opponents. And they have 4 common opponents: Houston, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Denver. And right now, Kansas City's done with those teams. They're 5-0, and Pittsburgh is 4-0 with the Buffalo game. So how it's a double whammy for the Steelers. They not only lose the conference tie the tiebreaker, it moves on to the next tiebreaker with Buffalo, and they would lose to Buffalo. They would then lose that tiebreaker to Kansas City. And that's what would give Kansas City the number 1 seed. So this is how important this Buffalo game is to the Steelers.
There's a lot of importance, not just to hang on. And again, I don't think the AFC North is in play right now. It could be if the Steelers stumble a couple of more times and the Browns continue to win, but it's more important to hang on to home field advantage. And this game against Buffalo is huge because, as you mentioned, Champ, Kansas City has already played and beaten the Bills, so that's one of the 4 or 5 teams that are in the common opponents. So if the Steelers lose to Buffalo, like you said, Kansas City gets a better record against common opponents.
Now let's move to the situation with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. It's a little better news for the Steelers because obviously, if they lose to Buffalo and then they lose to Cleveland, and Cleveland wins out, they would both have the record of 13-3. But the good news is for Pittsburgh is that they have a 4-0 division record, because that would be the next tiebreaker after head-to-head, because they'd be 1-1 against the Browns, assuming the Browns would have to beat Pittsburgh that last game. And the Browns are 2-2, so that means that Pittsburgh has to lose to Cincinnati for them to lose that tiebreaker. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So that's good news for the Steelers. So in other words, in order for the Browns to get past that divisional tiebreaker, they'd have to be 4-2, and the Steelers would have to lose their last 2. Obviously to Cleveland, but they would also have to lose to Cincinnati. So unless Pittsburgh loses to Cincinnati, it doesn't look like Cleveland's going to be able to get that tiebreaker and win the division right now, unless Pittsburgh would stumble against Indianapolis, and then it's a different story.
Yeah, that's where that's where everyone is looking at, because I mean you've got 4 games remaining on the schedule. You've got Buffalo on Sunday, Cincinnati on Monday, December 21st. You got Indianapolis at home on the 27th, and then you're at Cleveland. If the Steelers were to lose 3 of their last 4 games, now you're looking at a 12-4 record, and obviously if the Browns win out, then they win the division.
Yeah, and right now you're looking, in terms of the wild card, it's coming down to basically 5 teams for 3 slots. The 5 teams are Cleveland, Miami, Indy, and/or Tennessee, Vegas, and Baltimore. Now, Baltimore, after they play Cleveland, has Jacksonville, the Giants, and Cincinnati left. So there's a good chance that Giants game is in Baltimore, by the way, and they're playing good football, but there's a good chance that even if they lose to Cleveland, that they could pretty much Baltimore finish with a 10-6 record, even if they lose to the Browns.
Yes.
Miami's got I didn't realize it, but they have Kansas City, New England, at Vegas, at Buffalo. They're in trouble. And I got to believe, just look at that schedule, that they would be one of those teams out. So that leaves another team that could be eliminated. And I think it very easily could be the Raiders, only because this game with Indianapolis this week is crucial for them. And I think Indianapolis is a better team. I think the Raiders could lose this game very well and win their last 3 and still not make it. So I think that the Raiders, right now, I'd bet if the Raiders and Miami would be the 2 teams that would be out right now in terms of the wild card. And but that's why there's 3 key games. The Raiders game against Vegas is crucial. So the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game, and then you got the Browns game this week also against Baltimore. There are some really 3 key games that could really go a long way after this weekend. We're going to know a lot better what's going on in the AFC, or we may be more confused than ever. But that's what it pretty much comes down to in that wild card race. And now the Browns have to watch out because they did lose to the Raiders. And the one thing that the Raiders have in their favor is they have the best conference record of all these teams. They've only lost 3 times in the conference. But this Indianapolis game, they come out of this game with a loss. They're going to have to pretty much win out, and that's no guarantee because even if they beat Miami may not even be in the mix. So they're under the gun right now. The Raiders almost have to win their last 4 games to get in. If they don't, then they got to hope that Baltimore or Indianapolis or Tennessee stumbles. But right now, I think just by looking at it, I think Cleveland, Indy, and Baltimore would be your 3 wild card teams if I had a bet right now.
Well, Indianapolis may still steal that division.
Right,
Tennessee.
right.
And I'm looking at Baltimore or Indianapolis' schedule. Boy, I went 70s and said Baltimore. As we mentioned, they're in Las Vegas. They're home to Houston. They're in Pittsburgh. They're home to Jacksonville. 2-2 gets them 10-6 record. Tennessee's schedule the rest of the way, they're in Jacksonville. They're home to Detroit. They're in Green Bay. They're in Houston. And they could finish 2-2, probably 3-1. Who knows? But Indianapolis and Tennessee, that division hasn't been solved quite yet. And you think both teams should get in, one winning the division and the other one as a wild card. But this is going to be a wild finish, to say the least. Champ, you there? Uh-oh. Well, Champ, we just lost Champ. Yeah, we just lost Champ. Man, he bailed. What the heck happened there? All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. Right now, the seating is as follows. Pittsburgh is the 1, Kansas City is the 2, Buffalo is the 3, Tennessee is the 4, Browns are the 5, Dolphins are the 6, and Indianapolis is the 7, and a lot of things could happen. Champ, what happened?
I don't know. I got a message from someone came on from your thing on a message saying that please hold on. We'll be with you in a second. I don't know what. But I'm back, whatever.
Okay.
Bizarre. But anyways, I kind of lost you on that one, but I'm sure whatever you said was right because you're pretty intelligent.
Yeah, no, I think this is just the division, the AFC South is still very much in play between Tennessee and Indianapolis, and you would think one of them wins the title, the other one goes to a wild card.
Yeah, right now, the reason why Tennessee right now has got the advantage is they have a 3-1 division record compared to Indy's 2-2 division record, and they split both their games. So right now, unless Tennessee stumbles against Houston or Jacksonville, they're in the driver's seat right now for that division. And both those games are on the road, though, and you just never know. But that's the problem that Indianapolis has right now. And those are two teams, I got to tell you, it's hard to predict what those two teams are going to do. It seems like every Sunday you expect them to do well, and they lose. You expect them to lose, and they win. But you know what? It's interesting because those are the teams. Whoever wins that division is going to be probably the 4th seed and is going to match up against the top wild card seed, which now Cleveland's got that right now in their pocket if they continue to win.
Yeah, no two ways about it. This should be an awful lot of fun to see what happens here.
Yeah, and New Orleans is very quietly. How many have they won in a row very quietly? And it's amazing because they're undefeated the last 2 years when Drew Brees does not play. So I think that their system is very good. And, let's granted, they've had some really tough losses in the postseason, but they are long overdue. Now, I know that Brees has a Super Bowl title already, but they're long overdue to get to the Super Bowl. But right now, I got to believe that they're the best team in the NFC. I thought that Tampa was, but they got some problems right now. Things aren't going well between the new quarterback and the coach down there right now. And but anyways, it's in Green Bay's also a team. They got a great quarterback, but sometimes you watch them and you wonder if they're good enough. And it wouldn't be funny if it all comes down to it that the Giants end up winning the NFC by some means. Wouldn't that be bizarre?
Look, I will say this, and Champ, you made mention there were 4 times since the divisional play, since the 4 divisions. That we have had a team with a losing record go to the playoffs as the divisional champion. And in those 4 instances, all 4 of those teams won their first-round playoff game. So the lesson, kids, is whoever wins the division, whether it's the Giants, whether it is the Washington football team, those are the 2 teams. Dallas and Philadelphia are now starting to run out of gas. Whoever wins this division, whether it be the Giants or the Washington football team, if they finish 8-8 or lower, you may want to put some shekels down on their chances in the first game that they play. Because in the 4 previous instances, the losing team or the team with an 8-8 record has won their first round game based on the home field advantage.
All right, if you look at the the way the structure right now, the standings are, there's a good chance that fifth seed is going to be whichever team does not win the NFC West. Seattle is in it right now, but it could be the Rams. So that very easily could be the Rams or Seattle versus the Giants, or don't count Washington out yet. They're still alive. But that scenario is set up again because it's funny because the Rams finished 4-0 against the NFC East. They just annihilated them. They actually have a better – they actually should be crowned champions of the NFC East. The Rams should, the way they dominate that division. But you know what? Those games really don't count when it comes down to the playoffs. They could lose first round to the Giants after going 4-0 against that division.
Well, and the Giants have won their last 4 games.
Right.
And both New York and Washington are on winning streaks right now. The Giants have won their last 4. Washington's won their last 3. I don't think there's a guarantee that the NFC East is going to have a team with a losing record. I think that there is a chance, and I'm looking at the Giants' schedule. They've got Arizona at home this Sunday. They have Cleveland at home next Sunday night. They're in Baltimore, and they're home to Dallas. There's a chance that this team could finish 8-8.
Yeah, and I think the team that it started off so horribly, and we just counted them out right now. And they had kind of a new system going on, had a lot of new guys, but they're really the hottest team going right now is the Vikings. And they're very much now right smack in this wild card race at 6-6. I think they started off the season 1-5 or something like that. But they've really turned it around, and they've done it very impressively. They still have a decent quarterback, but it's still wide open. When you have teams that are 5-7 that are still being listed in the wild card race, that's to tell you that there's a lot of parity going on in that league right now. Now, the former coach, the defensive coach that got fired for the Jets,
Greg Williams.
Greg Williams. There's good news on the Greg Williams front. I guess that he's going to be in charge of coaching the Pro Bowl because you're not allowed to blitz in the Pro Bowl. So that's what he's going to be able to get that job really good. So. And I'll leave you with that because I'm tired. I've taken up too much time this week, but I'm going to relax and because it's really it's kind of a yucky kind of college football weekend, to be honest with you. Nothing's really going on.
And look, Army-Navy is playing, and for the first time in a long time, they're going to be playing at Mikey Stadium, which is at West Point. And if anyone has ever been to West Point, it's bucket list material. That West Point and Annapolis both are bucket list material if you're a historian or if you're a fan of the armed forces. West Point and Annapolis are both top-notch bucket list worthy places. But I've gone to a game, and this was in 96. I went to an Army game at Mikey Stadium, and when you walk into that stadium, you can just feel the energy level. It's an incredible place, and it's just West Point in general is just an incredible place, and I'm happy that they're going to be putting the Army-Navy game in West Point at Mikey Stadium, and hopefully next year they play the Army-Navy game in Annapolis. So they can return the favor, even if we have a much healthier 2021. I hope that they play next year in Annapolis.
Yeah, and I think that Army is Navy dominated that series for a while, but it's now in Navy or Army's favor now. And Army actually has a better football team, I think, right now.
Yeah, they do.
And so that'll be interesting. But one final thought before I go: do you think if the Cleveland Browns were had a record of maybe like 1-11 or 2-10, that they would really be concerned about having fans and the bars open for that game?
Probably not.
Okay, I think it's more about winning. Than it is about
look, I mean, and it's not even. It shouldn't even be their decision. It should be the governor's decision, right. And he's going to sit back and. I understand you want to please as many people that are making money as humanly possible, but. I'm now starting to get the feeling that in the state of Ohio, we have a governor that's more concerned about making sure that everyone still has their money than making sense of putting together what should be put together in terms of this virus. I mean, I say what you want about Pennsylvania's Governor Tom Wolf, but I mean, he threw the gauntlet down and said, "Listen, we're not going to have high school sports until after the first of the year. We're not going to have restaurants open. You can do carry out, but you can't do indoors. We're not going to have this. We're not going to have that." And he just flat out threw the gauntlet down and said, "I don't care if it's a multi-billion-dollar business. You're not having that multi-billion-dollar business in my facilities and in my state." In Pennsylvania, you're not allowed to have anybody watch a game at Heinz Field now. You're not allowed to go see a game at what is it, at First Financial or Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. You're just not going to be able to do that. God, there's been so many mixed messages sent throughout all of this that it's just, now it's starting to drive me a little nuts.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict, number one, and two, what is right and wrong anymore. And but it like I said, we've got probably another 2 months of really, really tough situations because I mean, I just heard today that this is going to be, in terms of deaths, it's going to be like 9/11 every day for the next 2 months, which is really, when you think about it. But hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we'll see. But I know that a lot of these sports like hockey and the NBA, they're kind of nervous right now. And I think baseball, you know, they got a little break because they're not going to start, you know, for a while yet. But hopefully this thing will get fixed sometime during the summer, and we can move on and this will be something you can talk, no matter what profession you're in. I mean, even high school, 30 years from now, high school players are going to talk about, you know, they're not going to talk about what their record was. They're going to talk about this pandemic and playing around the pandemic and all the situations similar to what the people did back in 1918 when they were sharing stories. And that's going to be the story of 2020. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and the other thing is, and let me ask you, because you're a Notre Dame fan just like I am.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get rid of 2020 as quickly as possible. Now, having said that, if Notre Dame wins a national title this year, or let's say my beloved Bills win a Super Bowl this year, now I'm going to be forced to talking about a year that I don't even really want to talk about.
Yeah, but, you know, they talked about how they should put an asterisk. I think there should be 2 stars next to all these champions, because they've had to go. I mean, think about what they've had to deal with. Look at the NBA, the Lakers. I mean, they've had to play in a bubble. There are all kinds of stuff. I think instead of an asterisk, there should be 2 stars there for remarkable. Even the high school teams that were able to go through the state playoffs and not so much the ones that won the championships, but the ones that got to the semifinals and the finals. It's quite an accomplishment when you think of all the distractions and all the things going on in this pandemic. And it's just something that we're going to be defined. But I tell you what, if Notre Dame would be lucky enough to go on to win the national championship this year, I don't want to hear one Ohio State fan say, "Well, they did it there at the pandemic." You know you're going to hear that, Ron.
Well,
okay?
Of course, yeah.
And so I'm going to have to just smile and say, "I'll show them the ring." Maybe that's what I'll do. Show them the ring. Nevertheless, we'll have to see what happens. But you know what? This scenario scares me. What happens if the semifinals are all set and like Alabama's team has a breakout? What are they going to do 3 days before the game? What are they going to do now?
Good question. Well, as we've said, 2020 is not fair, and whatever happens, fair went out the window the moment this virus came into the shores of the United States, for sure. Yeah.
All right. You have a good weekend, and I'll probably talk to you next week.
All right. See you. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Pat Birch, the head basketball coach at Boardman, will be joining the show in about 15 minutes or so, and we'll catch up with the head basketball coach over at Boardman. They made a nice run last year, falling in the district semifinals to Canton McKinley, and it's a different style of basketball that is being played at Boardman now, where it was more guard centric last year. Now it's more of a post presence this year, and we'll catch up with Pat Birch, and we'll get his comments and talk a little bit about this Spartan basketball program, which, man, all kinds of potential in the Boardman basketball program for sure. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. with you right up until 3 o'clock. Tonight, I'm going to be over in Crestview broadcasting the Rebels game against United, as those two teams will exchange pleasantries. And tomorrow night, I'll be back in Crestview, as the Rebels will be playing Springfield in a non-conference affair, and that should be a fun game. That should be an awful lot of fun, as Crestview will play Springfield on Saturday nights, and both varsity games should be starting at 7 o'clock. Well, both games are supposed to be starting at 7. We'll see what happens there. Again, we'll greet you from Crestview High School. Crestview taking on United, and again, it was supposed to be Southern playing United, but unfortunately, Southern went into quarantine. Now, a couple of nights ago, their school board met and said, all right, we're back to getting to play sports, and don't know when they'll start playing sports. Hopefully the week of Christmas, they can get it started, and then the week after Christmas, as you're still on the break in between Christmas and New Year's, hopefully they'll be able to get as many games, both boys and girls basketball and all the other winter sports. Hopefully they'll be able to make up as many games as possible. But again, it's with COVID, unfortunately, 22 games is. Yeah, that's the schedule. You're supposed to be playing 22 games in a basketball season. I'm not sure how many games you're supposed to be scheduling in bowling, or how many matches you're supposed to be scheduling in wrestling. But the benchmark for a regular season in basketball, boys or girls, is 22. And I don't know how many programs are going to get to 22. It'll be very, very interesting to see how many programs are going to be able to get their 22 games in. I would venture to say I'm going to be able to count on one hand. And we have close to 50 schools that we are covering in our YSN family. I would venture to say I can count on one hand the amount of teams that are going to be able to get their 22 games in. And that's a damn shame, but unfortunately, it is the reality. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Again, on the network tonight, Austintown Fitch will be hosting a quad wrestling match. Fitch, Chardon, Edgewood, and Howland are all going to get together wrestling at Fitch High School. That will start at 5 o'clock on the network. These basketball games will be taking place tonight. 7 o'clock is when the varsity is supposed to start. That means the JVs will get underway at 5:30. And again, the varsity game, it's at the mercy of the JV finish. If the JVs finish pretty quickly, then the varsity game will start before 7 o'clock. If the JV game is long, then obviously the varsity game will be after 7 o'clock. Well, let's first get to the phone lines real quick. Thanks for waiting. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
Hey, Patessa. This is Robert Swooker calling. How's it going, bud?
What's up, brother?
Hey, so I'm glad that little conversation with Champ happened about the scenarios with the NFL. And I know YSN has a lot of Steeler fans, and I know you're the lone Buffalo Biller there. And was curious on your -2 going into the weekend, and is there any DJ Yoakley bets going on where he has to wear a Bills shirt?
No, none of that going on. None of that going on this week. No, I'm shying away from that, and we really haven't even approached it, to be honest. I think Buffalo wins Sunday, but I'm not willing to wear Steelers garb if my Bills don't win. So I'll politely back away from anything like that and just enjoy the game on Sunday.
Yeah, because I was curious because, with the meltdown versus the Redskins and then Washington's good showing versus the 49ers, opens the door for the first time all season, I believe, that Pittsburgh is the underdog. And, all these Browns fans, I know, especially at YSN, are foaming out the mouth for Sunday night to happen and, Monday to come around. And I think that's going to be a little bit chirpy coming these next few weeks on how the division, shapes up. And, I think Buffalo is going to turn out, to be, finish strong and, make a good playoff run. And it's just curious how the AFC North is going to play out here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, this is a really weird line. Pittsburgh opened up 2.5-point favorite, and this line has moved 4.5 points the opposite direction to where now Buffalo is a 2-point favorite against the Steelers. So this has been a really, really weird the week or so where all of the money is on it's on Buffalo right now. That's why the line has been moved all over the place. Now, I'll continue to say the division is not in play right now. Pittsburgh has a 2-game lead, and they own the tiebreaker, so it's essentially a 3-game lead on Cleveland. Now, it could be in play if Buffalo takes care of Pittsburgh and the Browns take care of Baltimore. Now the division might get into play. The game that Browns fans, well, first of all, the Browns need to take care of business, and they're going to be taking on a Baltimore team that's gotten a lot better and gotten healthier. And they're going to be taking on a Giants team that's currently on a 4 or 5 game winning streak, and they're playing some pretty good football. The Jets, that's going to be a win because the Jets suck. So if you take care of business and you're 12-3 heading into the Steeler game, the game that Browns fans need to circle, not just Sunday night against Buffalo, the other game that Browns fans needs to circle is that game the week before Cleveland, and that's Pittsburgh taking on Indianapolis at home. Indianapolis is going to have a lot to play because that division's still in play with Nashville, and they also have a lot of teams on their backside for the wild card. If Indianapolis doesn't win the division, they will certainly be one of 3 or 4 teams that's going to try to vie for one of those 3 wild card spots. So that game against Indianapolis, there are going to be a lot of implications there. Now, let's assume for a second Cleveland takes care of business, and let's say Buffalo takes care of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh polishes off Cincinnati in Cincinnati, but they stumble and lose to the Colts. All right, now all of a sudden, now you're looking at 2 teams that are 12-3, winner take all in the last game of the year in Cleveland. Winner wins the division. The loser probably gets the 5 seed, and they go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and what's funny is if it does come down to that, DeWine has no idea how many rules are going to be broken for Week 17. For the Browns game.
Well, look, I mean, this is yet another reason why Governor DeWine needed to throw the gauntlet down and say absolutely under no circumstances are there any fans to be welcomed in Cleveland or Cincinnati. It's not going to happen. We're not going to do it, and that's the end of that because he's now opened Pandora's box. This game is on January the 3rd. Now, the right now the curfew is set to be done on January the 2nd. But let's while we're playing Fantasy Island here, let's assume for a second that Pittsburgh and Cleveland are 12-3, and the division is up for grabs on Sunday afternoon, and you know damn well this is going to be a 4:15, 4:25 game. So let's assume for a second the curfew is still up. Who in their right mind is going to sit back and go, we're just going to stay home and we'll watch this game? No. Yeah. Everyone and their brother is going to be tailgating in Cleveland, wanting to get a piece of that action and go up to Cleveland and watch that game.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, Browns fans have always fantasized over scenarios. Like, they never worry about their own division, but they worry about the AFC and how the dominoes will fall. But now it's like they have a prime opportunity to make noise in their division with them as a team and not worry about other teams and what they do, because, I mean, obviously Pittsburgh, ruling that for years and years now, but if the dominoes fall to where Pittsburgh, they've become drop city. Wide receivers over the past 3 or 4 weeks, they have been inconsistent. The running game's disappeared for Pittsburgh, and, a lot of things open a door when you start 11-0, and, your weaknesses are starting to get exposed and teams are adjusting to you. And, boy, what a bad time to get, to solve your problems at the end of the year.
We'll see what happens.
I know COVID affected them a little bit, but the Browns fans are just foaming out the mouth and hoping, they can close out and see what happens week 17. That'll be a great thriller.
Well, you got to take care of your business. And
That's right.
and Bills Mafia welcomes Cleveland fans for one night on Sunday.
Enjoy that. Well, good luck Sunday night, and then I can't wait to hear your show on Monday once the upset occurs.
All right, brother. See you. 330-886-0813. Good God. If Monday comes around and the Bills win, this is going to be fun. Of course, if the Steelers win, I know that I will be expecting more than a handful of calls and more than a handful of people coming in here. And that's fine, too, because I haven't really chirped all that much this week. I haven't. I mean, I think I've been respectful, at least, somewhat. All right, Pat Birch from Boardman coming up in a bit. We'll talk with the head basketball coach of the Boardman Spartans. Hang tight.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
telling more local stories
We'll look at efforts. Boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
To Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. And joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, the head basketball coach of the Boardman Spartans, Pat Birch. Coach Birch, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Well, thank you very much, and I'm doing well as well. You guys have your home opener tonight, second game of the year. you take on a fellow member of the YSN family in Louisville. This should be a fun game. Louisville is a team much like Boardman. Some expectations are certainly on the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going back through, and I think this is the 6th year in a row we've played Louisville, and we've had some battles with them. Coach Siegfried does a great job with his program, and those guys are, every year he graduates kids, and the next wave comes up, and they're good, they're skilled, they're fundamental. When you play Louisville, it's just going to be a battle every year. So we're excited for it.
You know, you bring up the my favorite part of the basketball program, and look, the varsity is the cherry on top of an absolutely scrumptious sundae. But you know, the meat and potatoes of all of this is the junior high program and below. And Boardman, in the last 5 or 6 years, the pipeline is right there. You guys have one of the best youth development programs from junior high down. You're starting out your kids in a great way, and that's one of the reasons why Boardman has now become one of the teams in the Valley.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, like you said, over the last 5 or 6 years to have really good people volunteer their time to make that a reality. We're starting to see some of the fruits of that labor. With these classes coming through now, and it's so many people, it's hard to name them all, that have dedicated hours and hours and hours, for the youth program. And we started out about 5 or 6 years ago, or kind of revamped it, I should say, about 6 years ago, and so we're starting to see these kids come through now, and I'm very grateful for all the different people that have, helped me make that happen.
How does that help you as a coach, knowing that these kids are all going to be learning some really important parts, not only of basketball, but things that you guys do, your go-to plays and offensive schemes and defensive lineups, and giving all of these kids a nice spoonful of what you guys do on the JV and varsity level, and they just graduate gradually into the program. How satisfying is that, and how good is that for you as a coach, knowing that these kids are being taken care of by those volunteers?
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial for sustainable success. You might catch a player here and there, but if you don't have a program set up, you're not going to be able to do it year in and year out. And that's really our goal, is to try to be a really good team year in and year out. Obviously, talent dictates that a lot too, but I think with our recipe, at least what I like to see, is the kids at the younger age are just really being taught how to play the game the right way. Fundamentals at a young age. There's a certain way that basketball should be played. It should be played unselfish, with maximum effort. And then as they get into that junior high program, I think that's where you start to put in some of your X's and O's and those things. So by the time they reach that high school level, it is common knowledge for them, and you're able to expand on it and, take kids' talents and make them hopefully a little bit better.
Coach, I know that everyone has had to deal with COVID in some way, shape, or form in the basketball season. Everyone's scrambling to try to grab some games that may or may not have been lost, and you're playing some teams that you normally wouldn't play on some occasions. What has it been like for you and your staff dealing with COVID issues at Boardman?
Like you said, we're not immune to it. Obviously, everyone's been through it. We started out pretty good in November. We had about 2 or 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks exactly, of practice, a couple scrimmages. Everything was going according to plan. And then, boom, just like that, we had some cases hit our program, and we got shut down from November 19th until December 4th, I believe it was. And we picked back up last weekend, had a few practices, and went and played a game. So we're dealing with it. And I joked with the players. I said, you know what? Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. You guys, got out of 3 weeks of being coached pretty hard, and all of a sudden you get to go play a game. They got a good chuckle out of that. But reality is, everyone's dealing with it. I know Poland, who we played on Tuesday, had some time off, and talking to other coaches from different areas, and they're either completely shut down or they're missing players. So we're just trying to live in the moment and be grateful that we have another game tonight. Hopefully we get a couple more next week. In terms of opponents, we haven't picked up anyone new yet. We're actually looking for a couple games right now still. So I think it's going to come down to just being willing to play anyone, anywhere, and just to get the games in.
You guys opened up this season on Tuesday night taking on Poland, and I don't think anyone would want to open up a season against a veteran type of team with a coach that's been there forever, with Coach Grisdale in Poland. But you guys were able to turn back Poland in their auditorium, and now you take on Louisville, and getting that first game out of the way. How big was that for your team, Coach?
Huge. Honestly, it was a big sigh of relief. Obviously, wanted to get the win. You go into Poland, you're playing against a Ken Grisdale team. You know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get quality basketball. So our margin for error was very small. And then you add on that the limited practices, and it was a relief on Tuesday night to kind of sit back and realize, okay, we got one in. We have some film to look at. We get to go practice again. But it doesn't get any easier. I feel like our first few games here are all very similar in terms of style of opponent. Louisville has a little bit more size underneath, so they're going to challenge our bigs. But still similar style in terms of they're going to be deliberate, set great screens, and make you defend. So we just got to be a little bit better than we were Tuesday. And like I said, we're just grateful we get the opportunity. I know a lot of coaches would love to be playing tonight.
Coach, I love the fact that, and it's only one game, but I love the fact that you have turned this basketball team from guard-centric last year, where you had some really good talent in the backcourt, and you also had some great talent in the front court, but you had some really, really good talent in the backcourt, more of a guard-oriented game last year, and now it's more of a post presence because you've got the big kid, the Anderson kid, back again for his senior year, and you guys are like playing a different style of basketball offensively on the fly, and I absolutely love it as a basketball fan that you're playing to your kids' strengths, and there's so many coaches that don't do that, and I was really glad to see it. I know one game in, but I know that this is going to be a lot more of this year, that you're playing to the kids' strengths instead of playing a certain style of basketball.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that especially at a normal high school where we're, you're not bringing kids in, we're not a small college bringing in recruits, and, we got to do what our kids do well, and obviously we have two pretty darn good players, and Ethan Anderson and Trey DePietro. They complement each other well, too. They can pass the ball. They can both put it on the floor. So we knew right away last year this was going to be, what we were going to build around. And, our guards are talented, too. They're going to be kids that as the year goes on, they get more experience. They're going to make some plays and, put up some big numbers for us. But, Ethan and Trey, they're our guys. We're going to ride them throughout the year. And I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. You mentioned the last couple of years we had Derek and, Tommy Friday last year shot the ball incredibly well. And so everything was around him and getting up and down. And, Ethan had his touches here and there. But, right now it's get the big guy the ball and let him be a player. And, we're gonna benefit off of him getting double teams and drawing a lot of attention inside.
Had an opportunity to chat with Mike Wernecki over at Struthers earlier in the broadcast, and I'll ask you the same question because you both had an opportunity to go into a deep district tournament run. After the game against Canton McKinley, the juniors and sophomores on that varsity team that are now seniors and juniors, was that challenge, was that gauntlet thrown down minutes after the McKinley loss to make sure that the program is not only going to be back, but to be back with an even bigger attitude and an even bigger experience and whatnot? Was that gauntlet thrown down after that game against McKinley?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it even goes back to the year before that when we lost to Green in a very competitive game. We had to answer the challenge last year, and our seniors did, and now losing that group of 9 seniors who were so instrumental in our success the last couple of years, it was a tremendous challenge to the next wave of guys to come up, and the talented kids there that have kind of been waiting. I think in other years we would have seen some of these guys play as sophomores and get an opportunity as juniors, and they didn't just because of the guys ahead of them. But we're confident in them, and it's nice having a kid like Ethan who's been through the fire. He started the last 2 years, so he's been in those big tournament games, and now it's his turn to kind of take the torch and carry it forward. But it's not easy by any means, especially with the limited summer and limited scrimmages. We're definitely behind where we want to be, but like you said, everyone is at this point. So we just got to keep doing what we do as well as we can right now and continue to get better, hopefully.
I got to believe the practices at Boardman between the varsity and the JV are spirited.
Yeah, absolutely. And we try to even get we call it our good against good, where you're getting your Trey's and Ethan's going against each other on a daily basis, and you try to get as much of that as you can, because you really got to challenge each other. And when it's JV varsity, we try to challenge varsity. This is your moment to really be as good as you possibly can, and then the JV guys, hey, you have success in this moment, you're going to have success against other JV teams. So, we try to just keep the competition level high throughout practice.
Coach, you stepped into the program a few years ago, and look, I'm a child of the '70s, and Boardman is synonymous with Alan Burns and the cachet that Coach Burns had when he was at Boardman. Took a couple of teams to the Final Four in Columbus. I remember one year losing to Columbus Walnut Ridge. But he had some tremendous programs in the '60s and into the '70s. Do you feel that kind of vibe especially when the older Spartan fans come up to you and congratulate you on the success that you've had right now?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite moments as a coach happened last year. We honored 50th anniversary of 1970 team, and we had a few of those guys back. Jay Powell was in attendance with a couple other of those players, and just to see them, have a sense of pride of what we have been able to do was very gratifying for me. The young teacher and coach at Boardman, you hear all the stories and kind of the legendary tales of Coach Burns. And I've been fortunate to meet him a few times. My in-laws are really good friends with his children, so there's a connection there. And we're nowhere near where those teams were yet. They had a level of success over decades. So we have a long way to go before we could put ourselves in that class, and we got to win deeper into the tournament. But that's our goal. We're really trying to honor that tradition. And the more we talk about it with the kids, we're definitely a little bit removed from those years, and a lot of those guys have moved away and stuff now. But just for them to understand of how good this program really was in the '60s and '70s and into the '80s, with that level of success, and just trying to honor that as best we can. It's really important for me.
The community of Boardman, they rally around their high school athletics and just high school in general. The everything that Boardman does is it's done in a first-class manner because the community support is just so incredible. Talk about Spartan family, and I know this year it's going to really be different, knowing that Spartan Nation, for the most part, won't be allowed to go into the Boardman Gymnasium to watch the Spartans play, and they'll have to rely on YSN to watch the Spartans play. Talk about that special bond that you guys have with the Boardman community.
Yeah, it starts with the students. Over the last 4 or 5 years, our student sections and having those kids there has just been special. It creates such a fun atmosphere, and that's really what high school sports are all about, is students cheering on their friends and their fellow classmates, and then the community at large, really just coming out and supporting those guys. And I think so much of that is a testament to the kids, because they've played the right way and they carry themselves with class on and off the floor. And I think people want to see kids like that succeed. I was thinking back when you're talking to last year, we're playing Worcester in our tournament game. And there was a moment in that game where crucial moment. I think the entire stand stood up on their feet, and it felt like a movie. It felt like, well, this is special, and you could just feel the energy. And I remember getting chills in that moment, thinking, well, we have 2,000 people behind us right now cheering us on this possession, and I know our kids appreciate that. And it's going to be different this year. Not having that energy in the building is going to be noticeable, but it's like that everywhere. So you got to create your own energy, and you need your bench into it. Everyone's dealing. We saw the NBA deal with it, so high school kids are going to have to deal with it too, unfortunately.
The mental aspect of the game is going to be tested in a big way, and I've been saying this since day one of the pandemic. Those that are able to roll with the punches and just let everything run its course and not complain or not be openly bitter about it are going to be the teams that are going to succeed and get the hardware at the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. We actually talked about that, when we got back to practice last Friday. We were just talking in reference to college football a little bit where, you see some of these programs have excelled through COVID and they figured it out. It actually seems like it brought them together. We're talking about Indiana, really being a good example of that this year and kind of rallying together. And then you see other teams like your Michigans and Penn States not really do that this year and kind of let it get the better of them a little, so to speak. And we want to be more like Indiana this year and just rally together and know that, with our 15 guys on the bench, that's who we're going to battle with. And sure, we'd love more people there, and we'd love it to be normal, but obviously that's not going to change anytime soon. So as adults and coaches, we're just trying to keep them positive and knowing that, hey, they get to play a game. At the end of the day, they get to do something they really enjoy, and as coaches, we really enjoy. So like you said, be positive, put a good spin on it, and just be grateful that we get to lace them up.
Coach, best of luck to you tonight against Louisville, and congratulations on getting the basketball back in order at Boardman. And I know a monster season is on the horizon for you guys. A lot of talent there, and looking forward to seeing that talent come to fruition, Coach.
Appreciate that, and fingers crossed these guys get a chance to showcase what they've worked hard to do, and we're going to keep doing our part, and hopefully get to play some basketball games this year. So I appreciate you having me on, and you guys supporting Boardman and Boardman Hoops.
Well, I know Spartan Nation will go to ysnlive.com to watch a lot of Boardman games this year, that's for sure. Coach, always
Absolutely.
A pleasure.
It's great.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Take care.
You got it. Pat Birch, the head basketball coach for the Boardman boys basketball program. That's a fun team. Oh, man, is that going to be a fun team to watch. We're going to take a timeout, be back with more. It is a hoops Friday night of basketball in the Mahoning Valley. Yeah, it's a basketball Friday in the Valley, and you're listening to a Friday edition and watching a Friday edition. Well, I feel sorry for anyone that has to watch this. Just saying. A Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Stick around, more to come.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency, by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because
I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Many thanks to Coach Mike Wernecki from Struthers, Coach Kerry Palermo from Mooney, and the head basketball coach for Boardman, Pat Birch. All three of them coming on board today via the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline to talk about the Struthers, Mooney, and Boardman boys basketball program. And what we want to do, being that, we're neck deep in basketball, and we're going to be, and hopefully we continue to be, our plan moving forward, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's, we have what we have. Dana Balish will be on Mondays at 1 o'clock, and Tuesday we'll hear from the esteemed sports editor of the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle, Doug Chapin, and we're going to be hearing from Rob Schmidt. We'll be hearing from Dre Smith, the YSU men's and women's play-by-play broadcasters. We're also on Thursdays and Fridays going to make it a point to have a number of girls and boys basketball coaches on the high school level. We're going to be doing this starting this coming Thursday, 6 days from now. We will have a number of high school basketball coaches and girls basketball on Thursday. And we'll get them, as many of them as we can. And we're obviously, Rob Schmidt will be our, we'll be talking YSU men's hoops with Rob Schmidt on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. But around that, we will also be dealing and talking with a variety of head basketball coaches from the girls basketball programs around the YSN family. And we'll do that on Thursdays. Fridays, we are going to be talking with various high school basketball coaches, boys coaches, throughout the YSN family as well. So that will be on Fridays. And that's something that that's something that we had, all of us, DJ and Steve Leslie and myself and a bunch of us at YSN, we've all been trying to get a little bit more localized in our shows and for Running Point. And it goes without saying, we thank all of the fans and all of the sponsors as well. My goodness. It's wonderful that everyone is either watching, listening, and taking part in terms of sponsoring this show. And it's obviously been a blast doing this. But Thursdays and Fridays during basketball season, we want to certainly get a little bit more in depth with our local basketball programs. So the girls' coaches will take the spotlight on Thursday, and the boys' coaches will take the spotlight on Friday. So that's what we're planning on doing during basketball season. And again, it's been a weird year. It just has been, and it started last spring. And it's still rearing its ugly head, and hopefully, fingers crossed, as we embark, and what are we now, 3 weeks from the end of 2020, thank God, as we embark into 2021, and that's 3 weeks from tomorrow, we'll get into, actually 3 weeks from today, we'll embark into 2021. 3 weeks from yesterday is the last day of 2020, and as we go into 2021, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a better feel, and as we go further on into 2021, we'll have a better feel of COVID, and we'll hopefully get somewhat normal by next spring. So the athletes from the spring sports, baseball, softball, track and field, tennis. No, now tennis is in the fall. Never mind. Baseball, softball, track, and field. Hopefully these sports will go on this year, unlike last year where everything was shut down. Hopefully we will have some sports this spring when the calendar flips to 2021. But we're certainly going to be focusing a lot more with basketball. And again, it sucks that when we go to a high school gym and there's so few people there, because you're only by law the parents are the only ones that are allowed to see their kids play, and that's it. This is where, and I knock on wood and I wear the shield today. I gotta make sure that I'm doing this properly. The YSN shield today. Yeah, there we go. It's tough to do that when you're looking into a camera and you got to do the opposite way. I'm wearing the YSN shield today as I normally do. It's grateful that YSN is providing this service where, you know, the grandparents and student sections and those that are wanting to see their favorite high school basketball team play, they're going to be able to do it. And just very grateful for that opportunity. And again, I'll be broadcasting the Crestview United game tonight and the Crestview Springfield game tomorrow night from Rebels Gym in Crestview High School. So both of those games will be on the network. Game time, 7 o'clock, give or take a few minutes. Again, we're at the mercy of the junior varsity game, and how fast that game goes or how slow the game goes is going to determine where we are in terms of our game time. But, you know, game time is 7 o'clock, give or take a few minutes tonight and tomorrow night from Crestview Rebels Gymnasium as the Rebels take on United tonight, Springfield tomorrow night. But it's great that, you know, those that would normally go see high school basketball in your favorite gym, now you get an opportunity to go to ysnlive.com and check out your favorite high school basketball team with the YSN broadcast. And look forward to doing that all weekend long. But clearly, we want to certainly do some stuff with high school basketball. And again, Thursdays will be girls basketball dominated, although we will have Rob Schmidt on Thursdays at 1 o'clock to talk YSU men's basketball. We will have a ton of 3 or 4 girls basketball coaches per week talking girls basketball and promoting the teams that we're going to be promoting on a weekly basis. And then Fridays we'll have some high school boys basketball coaches and we'll be promoting their programs as well, because that's what we do and that's what we're supposed to do, and that's the joys of having an outlet like YSN. So we're looking forward to that. And again, we thank Mike Wernecki from Struthers, Kerry Palermo from Mooney, Pat Birch from Boardman jumping on. By the way, the combined record of these 3 coaches this year, I know we're early on. Struthers is 2-0, Mooney's 2-0, Boardman's 1-0. The combined record 5-0 between these 3 teams. Just saying, they're having a good year, and early on, and we'll see what happens as we get further along the basketball season. I mean, we're just starting out right now, and Christmas 2 weeks away. Hopefully, in the next week to 10 days, you'll be able to get 2 or 3 more basketball games under their belt and under everyone's belt, and then play a game or 2 between Christmas and New Year's, and then start the 2021 campaign rip-roaring and ready to go. All right, we'll take a final timeout, be back. It's a Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. All right, tonight on the network, plenty of high school basketball games. All of these games will be starting. Varsity starts at 7 o'clock, give or take a few minutes based on how fast the JVs play. Beaver Local will be hosting Indian Creek, Boardman hosting Louisville, Canfield will be hosting West Branch, Crestview home to United, Heartland Christian will be welcoming in Camel, Jackson Milton hosting Lowville, Sebring hosting Western Reserve, South Range home to Poland. Boy, that ought to be a great game. And Ursuline home to North Royalton. Again, the varsity game starting at 7. JV games for all of these contests will be starting at 5:30. And again, if the JV games end early, then the varsity game is going to be played before 7 o'clock. If the JV games happen to go to overtime or it's a lengthy game where a lot of fouls are called, a lot of clock stoppage, then obviously the varsity game will start a little bit after 7 o'clock. That'll do it for the program. Have a great weekend, everyone. Monday could be interesting depending on what happens Sunday night with the Steelers and the Bills. If the Steelers win, I'm guessing that DJ will be coming in here to have a conversation with me, and he'll have a smile on his face, and I won't. If the Bills win, you'll probably hear me touting the Bills a little bit more than usual on Monday, and that could be fun as well. Browns Nation, it's a one-shot deal. Y'all are welcome to Bills Mafia. Just a one-shot deal, because I know that y'all need us, okay? Because, if the Bills don't take care of business, you got no shot at your division. Although, by the way, you got to take care of your own business, but Bills Mafia could take care of your business indirectly. So if you're a Browns fan, you're on board Bills Mafia Sunday night, and we'll see what happens. All right, that'll do it for the show. Power Hour is coming up next. Have a great weekend.